But anyway, that's our taking stock jumping off point. And our panel tonight is with Scott Phillips from the Motley Fool and Professor Richard Miles, Pro-Vice Chancellor for Enterprise at Sydney University. So, too brutal or perfectly lean and mean? Scott Phillips, what do you think about this?
Chris, I'm a little concerned you brought me here on a Friday to talk about this. This may be the last time I'm on taking stock. Let's just put it out there now. I've got to say, I'm all for. So Jack Welch, who now isn't exactly the sort of guru he was once, talked about radical candor, right? Of being completely honest and transparent with people. I think that's great. Firing 25% of your workforce every year. You've got something horribly wrong with your hiring or onboarding process. If you can't get that more right, if you can't get people in the door who are doing a good enough job, then I think you've got a bigger problem with your organisation than that. And this works when things are going well. When things are going badly, how much loyalty do you reckon you're getting from a group of people who know that 1 out of 4 of them aren't going to be here this time next year?
Oh, so think Richard, about it. What do you think? Sacking people on a Friday, it means they've got Saturday and Sunday to get a new job.
Quick turnaround, there you go.
No.
Unemployment's under 5%, maybe that's the time.
I have to say, I hope she's not watching it, but she might sack me or go to the lawyers. But she sounds like a total ogre. Yeah. And, but then again, you've got to remember, salespeople are a different breed.
Yes.
A really different breed, and they do expect to move on an awful lot. They're mercenaries.
Look, and if you are in a team and there's underperforming people that just still seem to stick around, they keep turning up. No one else seems to notice. That could be equally damaging internally, couldn't it?
Yeah, but you also got to. Often there's this sort of internal blame culture. So, we often, we live in this age where everybody's the individual, everybody thinks of themselves in that kind of way. But actually, sometimes you're failing as a group. If you're failing as a group, you're all failing. Yeah.
I think your point, though, about, you want to be transparent. You do want, you don't want underperformers. That's different, though. As I say, if a quarter of your workforce is underperforming, again, you've got a much bigger issue, right, than just...
Although what if you hire on the basis of, hey, everyone knows, you want to come work for this company, 1 in 4 get fired in the first year.
Yeah, I think the rule is you've got to make a sale in the first 3 months.
You've got to make, exactly. So
otherwise,
if you want to apply, you're in, you're out, up to you.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I think to Richard's point, if that is the way we come in, then fine, that's the way you go out, and we're all fine. I think that's a bit different, though, than, Richard, again, talking about being an ogre, I think that's a very different culture, right? Is if you're firing people rather than saying, hey, here is the probationary period, effectively. If you don't make it, you know what the rules are, you're in, you're out, that's fine. I just think, organisationally, again, I don't want to run an organisation, I want to be part of an organisation where loyalty is that absent, quite frankly, from the entire business. Because I said, when things are going well, you're great. Yeah. You reckon those rats aren't deserting the sinking ship in a heartbeat if they feel like they're the next ones out the door?
So true. It's so interesting hearing you talk about loyalty like that, because one of the points that she raises about her strategy here is about respect, and that the top salespeople aren't going to respect the company if they know that they're going to be carrying these underperforming salespeople. So this idea of loyalty, respect, what do you think?
There's a sort of, I don't know, there's a bit of a paradox there, isn't there? Because basically, if you want to be a top person, okay, surely you need people beneath you who aren't doing as well as you. Otherwise, you're the bottom person. Yeah, should be firing you on a Friday.
You're in the rat race, you want to be the fastest rat, right? Not just one of the bunch.
I just loved how she said, I just love Fridays, because I couldn't wait to say to someone in the sales area, hey, do you have a few minutes for me on Friday? So if you ever hear those words, run, run. Well, remember Lance Armstrong. He remains one of the most hated sports figures in the world after being outed as a cheat, of course, and stripped of his Tour de France titles. But he's now made another surprising admission. The cyclist invested about $100,000 in a venture capital fund back in 2009, which ended up ploughing money into a little company at the time called Uber. His stake could now be worth about $3 billion. He says it has saved his family.
I bet.
Do cheaters prosper after all? Richard Miles.
Why'd you ask me that question? I'd say...
Well, you're a man of history.
Yeah, I wonder whether... unfortunately, I've got some bad news for everybody. Yeah, cheaters often do prosper.
Yes.
That's, and unfortunately, that's, history does tell us that. But, I mean...
back to the Roman days? Is that the case?
Yeah. I mean, those are the dirtiest, often the people that really came out on top. But with him, do you think people really hate him? Do you think people... I'm just trying to... I mean, the thing about cycling, and I'll be careful what I say here, is that, it didn't come as a massive surprise, did it, that he was juiced?
Well, true, that's
right.
Against expectations, it's like...
You have to look at him, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I think we'll get back on topic. Armstrong's biggest issue, though, was the fact he denied it and denied it and denied it. He put himself so far out there. It wasn't just one of the, we think he probably is. The Oprah's, the everyone's. I didn't do it, didn't do it, didn't do it. of course, where's Karma, right? Like, Karma's supposed to get these people. Now he's $4 billion in the kick. He's doing all right. So saving his family? How many billion did he need to save his family is what I'm wondering.
Well, he didn't necessarily get the full $3 billion. That's a bit unclear.
Well,
we might
sure.
have kind of stretched
But he's doing all right.
He's doing all right.
Let's call it 100 million to be safe. I mean, unbelievable. So here's a question. Can you spend money to repair your reputation when it is so far gone? What do you think, Richard?
Well, have you ever had a public relations?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, go on the offensive with your new money.
In some ways, this is exactly what, all sorts of people have repaired their...
Oh, think about all the money that the big four banks are spending at the moment advertising. I mean, don't forget
reputation washing, massive.
Yeah.
You have people who are up against on serious indictments who are now hiring big PR firms to try and push to win that the battle of public opinion. So yeah, it works.
Might need a bit more than that, I think, to win back. Although I hear an interview with him recently where he kind of comes out as a not terrible guy. To your point, Brooke, I think most people do despise him, and probably rightly so. But he kind of comes and says, yeah, I screwed up. Like the PR to Richard, he's been well advised, because now he's saying, okay, this was wrong, this was terrible, I did the wrong thing, now I just want to get on with my life. And the sympathy vote's worth something. Now, whether $3 billion gets you or loses your sympathy, I'm not entirely sure. I think he's probably doing all right. I don't think he needs to worry too much.
Well, someone obviously advised him to let that cat out of the bag. So, there's some strategy there, probably.
We know, we love a reformed sinner, right?
Yeah, we do.
And he did that, he did the age-old one, basically, I got caught up in a lie, and it got out of control, blah, 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 so.
One of the things about this story that, of course, got buried to the bottom is, who is this venture capital firm? Unbelievable. When Uber was $3.7 million, they ploughed tons of money. Unbelievable. Geez, that's about as good as it gets, right?
Yeah, I mean, Facebook's probably still number one at some level, but Uber, Airbnb, there are a lot of companies. What's interesting about that is that in Silicon Valley now, there are many fewer big venture firms that are getting all the money. The best deals now are going to the Andreessen Horowitzes of the world. The kind of money finds its way, right? And it was once upon a time almost a bit of a lottery. You kind of lots of VC firms, little bits of money, lots of people with big ideas. Now you find the Series A, Series B offers are going to the big firms only, and you've kind of got to know someone or get in with decent amounts of money now. So it is really changing. Money makes money, as we know. And we're kind of at that point of the VC investment cycle where you've got to be in the know, you've got to really have that connection to get onto these big deals.
Right, well, speaking of smart money and not so smart money, there's another story that was pretty interesting today, which is that Sydney's big tapeworm, as it's been called by some, has been put on the back burner. That's right, you heard that right, the tapeworm. A giant 58-metre ribbon-like sculpture has seen its cost estimate increase 6-fold since it was first suggested. Now, they say it's hard to put a price on art, so what do you think about the images that we're seeing? Is it worth all of this money? Richard, man of history, what do you think?
I would say not. I think it's absolutely grotesque.
It is, isn't it?
It's just got nothing. The thing about these sort of permanent art installations is you soon they just become a boring annoyance. If you're going to do this kind of thing, you've got to do it. The temporary ones work much, much better. And in some respects, good on the light rail. I mean, not only do I live in Randwick, but also I know that it's actually stopping this being built.
Yes, that's it. That was part of the problem. It's been killed off because of the light rail, which is all over budget, etc. as well. So there you go.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
That's true, yes.
I'm just flabbergasted that a government project's gone over budget. Who'd have thought for the first time ever, we've seen a government project go over budget, hit constraints. I actually kind of with Richard, you think about the sculpture by the sea, for those of us who live in Sydney, these ideas are things that kind of come and go, they're new, they're different, people kind of check them out. That's where the value is. The Vivid Festival, again, there's a Sydney-centric things, but there's stuff right around the country. Those festival ideas, things that come and go, they're really useful, they're new, they're exciting, people want to see them. Once something's up there for a little while, it's kind of you kind of walk past it and think, well, okay, fine, what's done is done.
They were kind of looking for the next great symbol of Sydney. We've got the Opera House, we've got the Harbour Bridge. This would be the next great symbol.
Sydney like
a bold. I read from a Clover Moore, who's the mayor. A bold, heroic sculpture, the most significant artwork built in decades. In Australia.
That's a long time.
And now it's just being turfed.
It says a lot about the last few decades. If that's true, what have we been doing since 1965? Not a lot, I've got to say.
I would say insignificant and generic. Okay, and actually, and if we, I
preferred the monorail perfectly.
Actually, you're not wrong there. No, really. I mean,
bring back the monorail. We're starting it here.
A much better emblem.
Speaking of sinking money.
If we're going to be basically identified and represented by our art, this is a really poor show.
But I'm also one of those people that finds it hard to justify these big money that's spent in art at all. I just feel like it's sometimes a little bit for the few, and even that one, for example, I mean, that was supposed to be, you know, on a large scale, but they've already spent $2.25 million in prep work on redesigns, artist fees, other development costs. I mean, I just find all that kind of money, I don't know, poorly spent. Do we need art in our public spaces?
I think I take a slightly different view. I think we do want art around the place. I think it does make us a more interesting society, but I think you can do it in a whole lot better ways, spending $58 million on one installation that is in theory permanent and is quite divisive. Whether it is that festival kind of approach, whether it's some sort of other temporary artwork or something else, bring a festival, bring you know, a gallery of works from somewhere overseas if you want to. The idea of having something that Sydneysiders can see and look at and do, that's great. But when you're spending that much money on a single thing that's going to be there in theory forever, lose relevance, no one's going to care at some point because you're going to walk around the thing. That to me is where the real issue is. I'm no art critic, I'm not going to bust judgment on the design specifically. $58 million on one piece of art, rather than, imagine how many festivals, imagine how many pieces of art.
Just some guerrilla artwork, just something which actually, when you're walking down the same old road, you know, every day, and you see something different, that's great. The
Melbourne laneways, perhaps. Yes, no, that's not. I thought it was interesting as well. They seem to be stuck on this 58 metres thing, whereas, you know, like perhaps they should be bringing down the size of it instead of increasing the size of the budget, because then by the end of it, you just be able to sort of step over it. You know, $2.5 million to get something that big, you know.
I'm just going to say the idea of Richard as Banksy going around at night and painting stuff on the sides of walls.
Give me the money, I'll sort it out.
The undercover millionaire right here on my left. Richard Miles, thank you very much for tonight, and Scott Phillips from the Motley Fool as well. Thank you so much. Happy Friday to you both.